the global regulations and the global thinking around crypto is also evolving very quickly right now. And so before we pin down in India what the regulatory framework should be, we have to also keep in mind what is evolving at a global level as well, because we have to be aligned with that. If we start to move off in one direction and then we find it's not aligned with the global direction, then we will have to bring that back, and that's a problem. So right now it's a good position to take, which is let's establish what it is in terms of its legal status, let's establish its taxation status. But in terms of the regulation of use cases, because crypto, of course, can have many different use cases, the regulation of these different use cases should take into account what evolves from a global perspective. So that's point number 2. Point number 3 is that the process of consultation has been on for a long time. Obviously, you know that the government had done a white paper on this some years ago. Then we've had at the Standing Committee on Finance, which of course, as you know, I chair, a number of discussions as well, both formally and informally with members of the crypto industry. And then finally, the government now is in the process of establishing a white paper that will lay out the different use cases and how these different use cases should be regulated. But again, as I said, it's a good time to take a measured approach because the global picture also is evolving right now. And India, of course, uniquely so because of our capital controls, has to understand what is being implemented globally and then follow with appropriate
But let's take,
adjustments.
for example, what happened in Parliament yesterday, where the government said that gains made on one type of crypto asset cannot be offset against losses on another. Now, if this were stocks and if crypto is indeed an asset, then it's very clear you lose some on HCL, you can make that up on Infosys, etc. And therefore, it's only logical that something like that be extended to crypto. The moment, because there are a lot of young people here in the audience and watching on social media, digital, YouTube, etc. They get the sense that the government simply doesn't get it. I mean, they're looking at you and saying, don't these guys understand that this is very basic? How can they make such mistakes? And how does this even make sense?
Rahul, that's a very valid point. But I think you're jumping to a conclusion about a use case. When you say you want a set-off against gains that you're making here against losses elsewhere, you're already assuming that the use case is a use case where crypto is being considered as an asset class. Right? And so when you have an asset class, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, whether it's mutual funds, and yes, you have set-offs. But that is already taking into account that this is a use case. Now, we are still, as I said, in the stage where we are thinking through what are the legitimate use cases. And therefore, once we have these legitimate use cases, they are aligned with a global standard, then this is what the taxation treatment would be. But as I said, right now, what the different use cases are, and what the tax treatment of these different use cases will be is still evolving. And right now, the government's position has been that it is not yet an asset class where it's going to get the benefits that other asset class which have set-offs are going to be. That seems to be the position the government has taken through the statements in Parliament.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.